Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive just for Vintage Car Chronicles. You know where to find us: Spotify, Deezer, Apple Music, YouTube. Today, we're shifting gears, going back to the 80s for a closer look at a true rally legend, the Ford RS200.
Yeah. The RS200, it's more than just a car. It's a symbol of an era Group B rally racing, where pushing the limits wasn't just encouraged, it was practically the rule book.
All right, so for those of us who might have missed that chapter of motorsport history, paint us a picture. What made Group B so legendary? And why was the RS200 right in the heart of it?
Well, imagine a time when rally cars were practically untamed beasts, just spitting fire and kicking up gravel on the world's toughest stages. Group B was all about raw power, insane speeds, and just constantly pushing the boundaries of what was possible. It was pure spectacle.
Yeah.
And the RS200, with its radical design and just mind-blowing performance, well, it was one of the stars of the show.
I'm already hooked. But before we dive headfirst into the RS200, I keep coming across this story about the Escort RS1700T. Was this Ford's first attempt at a Group B contender?
You've done your research. The RS1700T. It was their initial foray into Group B. It was a rear-wheel drive, turbocharged beast. And they were hoping to build on the Escort's already, impressive rally pedigree. The only problem was Audi and their Quattro came along and basically rewrote the rule book. Suddenly, four-wheel drive was the only way to dominate those slippery, unpredictable stages. And Ford realized they needed a completely different approach.
So enter Stuart Turner, Ford Motorsport's new director, with a vision, scrap the old plan, and build a purpose-built Group B weapon.
Right? Exactly, Turner. He recognized that to even compete with the likes of Audi, they couldn't just modify an existing car. They needed something completely revolutionary, and that's where the RS200 project really kicks off.
All right, so we've got a failed project, a determined new leader, and the wild world of Group B as our backdrop. This is already shaping up to be one heck of a story. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What made the RS200 so special, so different from anything else out there?
Okay, well, for starters, picture this. A mid-engined four-wheel drive layout, a body made of lightweight composites, and an aluminum monocoque chassis, which basically means a super strong one-piece structure. They even brought in Tony Southgate, who is a Formula One designer, and John Wheeler, a brilliant engineer, to work their magic on this project.
Wait, they brought in talent from Formula One. That tells you how seriously Ford was taking this. But a car is only as good as its engine? What was powering in this beast?
Under the hood was a beast in its own right, a Road 8-liter Cosworth BDT engine. Now, this wasn't just any engine. It actually evolved from the one in that failed RS1700T project. In the road-going RS200, it pumped out a respectable 246 horsepower, but for the rally stages, they cranked it up to a mind-blowing 444 horsepower.
Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah.
But all that power is useless if you can't control it,
Yeah.
especially on those crazy Group B rally stages. How did they manage that?
That's where the engineering gets really fascinating. Instead of the usual setup, they put the gearbox in the front of the car and used a complex system with 3 differentials to manage the four-wheel drive. And get this, they had a switchable torque split, meaning the driver could adjust how much power went to the front or rear wheels depending on the terrain.
Wow, that's seriously advanced for the 1980s. It sounds like they were throwing everything they had at this car. But I'm curious about the suspension. Group B was notorious for brutal stages. So how did the RS200 handle that?
You're right, those stages were absolutely punishing, but the RS200 was built to take it. It had a double wishbone suspension system with double spring and damper units at each corner, which, trust me, is pretty unusual. It was designed to handle the most extreme bumps and jumps while keeping the car stable and planted.
I'm starting to get a real sense of this car's capabilities. It was like a mechanical mountain goat. But we can't forget about the looks. Our sources mentioned a designer from Filippo Supino. Did he create something as visually striking as the engineering?
Supino absolutely nailed it. He gave the RS200 this futuristic wedge-shaped design that was both beautiful and functional. Those big ACNS panels you see, those were crucial for quick repairs during rallies, which, let's be honest, were pretty common in Group B. And those factory rally cars even had a lightweight Kevlar body.
So picture this, a sleek white silhouette just slicing through a forest, or that iconic blue and white livery flying over a jump, spitting flames from its exhaust. It must have been a sight to behold.
Oh, absolutely. It was a true head-turner, and it sounded even better than it looked.
Speaking of sound, I can almost hear that Cosworth engine screaming right now. But tragically, the RS200's Group B story was cut short. What happened?
Well, the 1986 season started with high hopes for Ford, but there were some delays getting the more powerful Evolution model ready to compete. And then tragedy struck. Joaquim Santos's RS200 went off the road at the Rally Portugal, resulting in spectator fatalities. It was a heartbreaking reminder of the risks involved in this high-octane sport.
That accident, along with others, ultimately led to the demise of Group B.
Right. Sadly, yes. The FIA, the governing body of motorsport, decided that Group B was simply too dangerous. The cars were incredibly powerful, and the stages were often lined with spectators. It was a recipe for disaster. And after the 1986 season, Group B was banned, leaving the RS200's full potential unrealized.
It's a bittersweet story. This incredible machine designed to conquer the rally world had its chance snatched away. But even with its short-lived WRC career, the RS200 story doesn't end there, right? I've seen mentions of rallycross and even Pikes Peak.
That's right. The RS200 found new life in other forms of motorsport rallycross, with its shorter mixed surface tracks proved to be a perfect playground for its power and agility. And some even took on the challenge of the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb in the U.S., showcasing the car's amazing versatility.
Okay, so the racing spirit lived on. But what about those 200 road-going RS200s Ford had to build for homologation? What happened to those?
Those road cars, they've become legendary in their own right. Imagine owning a piece of Group B history, a car that's basically a detuned rally monster. We'll dive into the specifics of those in a bit, but trust me, they are something special. So let's shift gears a bit now and talk about those 200 road-legal RS200s. They weren't just, some afterthought for homologation. They became icons in their own right.
All right, I'm all ears. I want to hear what it was actually like to get behind the wheel of one of these street-legal rally beasts.
Okay, so imagine this. You climb into the Spartan cockpit, the Recaro seat is hugging you tight, you grip that small Alcantara-wrapped steering wheel, fire up the Cosworth engine, and it just explodes to life with this roar that I swear will send shivers down your spine.
Okay, I think I'm getting chills just imagining it. But I have read that gearbox was a bit of a handful.
Oh yeah, that 5-speed gearbox. Remember? It was mounted in the front for better weight distribution. It could be a bit notchy, demanding a firm hand and, a bit of finesse. But once you got the hang of it, it was part of the charm. It was a reminder that you weren't driving some ordinary car.
So not exactly a smooth operator, but definitely rewarding for those who could tame it. And once you got it going, what was it like to actually unleash all that power on the open road?
It was exhilarating. The turbo lag was definitely noticeable, but once that boost kicked in, it was like being shot out of a cannon. The handling was razor sharp, thanks to that sophisticated suspension and the balanced weight distribution. But you always had to be alert, Always respect the car's raw power.
It sounds like a car that demanded your full attention, a true driver's car. And I can see why they've become so sought after by collectors, but I can't help but think about how they compared to the rally versions. Was there a big difference in performance?
Oh, absolutely. The rally cars were built for pure speed and durability on the toughest stages imaginable. They had more power, more aggressive setups, and they were lighter too, thanks to things like that Kevlar bodywork. The road cars were a bit more civilized, but they still had that raw, untamed spirit of their rally brethren.
Speaking of civilized, I read that even Formula One legend Jackie Stewart was involved in fine-tuning the RS200 for road use. That's a pretty impressive endorsement.
Yeah. It is Stewart focused on making the car more predictable and manageable for everyday driving, He helped refine the suspension and steering, making it a bit more forgiving on public roads. But even with his input, the RS200 retained its edge, that hint of wildness that made it so special.
I love that they kept that character intact. It's a reminder that this was a car born from racing, from pushing limits.
Mm.
But sadly, as we discussed earlier, the RS200's time in Group B was cut short. What if it had continued? How do you think it would have fared against the competition?
That's the big question, isn't it? The RS200 showed incredible potential. Its unique design and engineering made it a real contender. If Group B had continued, I think, it would have been right up there battling for championships with the likes of Audi and Peugeot.
It's fascinating to think about what might have been, but even with its short-lived WRC career, the RS200 left a lasting legacy. It was a game changer in terms of design and technology, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. The mid-engine layout, the advanced four-wheel drive system, the lightweight construction, it set a new benchmark for rally car design. It pushed the boundaries of what was possible, and its influence can be seen in rally cars even today.
We've talked a lot about the standard RS200, both the rally and road versions.
Yeah.
But you mentioned earlier that there was more powerful Evolution model. Let's dive into that, shall we?
Oh, yes. The Evolution models, those were the ultimate expression of the RS200's potential, and that's a story that deserves its own chapter.
Okay, evolution time. These were the mythical beasts, the upgraded RS200s that were meant to really shake things up in Group B. What made them so different from the standard cars?
The Evolution models, they were all about taking the RS200's performance to the absolute limit. The most significant change was under the hood, the engine. They bored it out to 201 liters, slapped on a bigger turbocharger, and tweaked the engine management system. The result will hold on to your hats, because we're talking nearly 600 horsepower.
600 horsepower. That's insane. That's a massive jump. These things must have been absolute rockets. But as we know, Group B was banned before they could really show their stuff. What happened to all those Evolution models that were already built?
It's a classic case of what could have been. Ford had this batch of super powerful cars ready to race, and suddenly the whole game changed, so they got creative.
Yeah.
Some of the Evolution cars were sold to privateer racing teams who campaigned them in other forms of motorsport, like rallycross.
And rallycross seems like the perfect environment for a car like the RS200, right? Short, intense races, mixed surfaces, lots of sideways action. Did they find success there?
Oh, they absolutely did. Rallycross gave those Evolution models a chance to really stretch their legs, and they did not disappoint. They were winning races and championships, proving just how potent that upgraded package was.
So even though they missed their shot at Group B glory, the Evolution RS200s found a way to make their mark. But what about the ones that didn't end up on the rallycross track?
Here's where things get really interesting. Remember those 200 road-going RS200s? Ford had to build for homologation. Well, since Group B was gone, they decided to convert some of those road cars to the full Evolution spec.
Wait, are you telling me there are street-legal Evolution RS200s out there?
Yeah.
That's got to be the ultimate collector's item.
You bet. They're incredibly rare. Only a handful were ever built. Imagine owning a car that looks relatively unassuming, but packs the heart of a 600 horsepower rally monster. Talk about a wolf in sheep's clothing.
It's mind-blowing that a car designed for the brutal world of Group B could also be tamed for the road. It really speaks volumes about the RS200's versatility in engineering. As we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want listeners to remember about the Ford RS200?
I think it's this. The RS200 is more than just a car. It represents a moment in time, a snapshot of an era when motorsport was wild, innovative, and yes, sometimes dangerous. It's a symbol of pushing boundaries of what happens when engineers and designers are given free rein to chase performance. And even though its Group B story was cut short, its legacy lives on, inspiring car enthusiasts and reminding us that sometimes the most captivating stories are the ones that leave us wanting more.
Well said. And a huge thanks to all of you for joining us on this epic journey into the world of the Ford RS200. Don't forget to tune into Vintage Car Chronicles every day for your daily dose of automotive awesomeness. Until next time, keep the passion for cars alive.